Hey guys, my name's Amy and today I wanted to show you 10 different plants that I am seriously loving right now. I've got lots that have been just growing really well for me and a few here that I'm really excited for the potential that they have in the future. So let's get started. The first plant I want to show you today is my all-time favourite plant, my Sitomium falcatum or hollyleaf fern, and it has just been looking so lush lately. I don't know if you'd be able to tell the difference in the sort of lighter glossy leaves. They're all of the new fronds that it's been putting out lately, and a lot of them are the fertile fronds. You can see the spores growing on the back there. So I definitely think at some point, maybe this summer, I might have a go at propagating from the spores, see if I can grow them. I'll do some research on the best methods for doing that because I've never grown a fern like that before, but I'm loving it so much. It's probably going to need a repot. It's been in this pot for quite a while and hopefully you can see all of those roots coming out the bottom, but at least right now it seems perfectly happy. I just absolutely adore this plant. That is the Sitomium falcatum. Next up, we'll go for a smaller one. This is my Sansevieria francescii, and what's interesting is that it's actually started to bloom. If you can see right in the centre there. I noticed it the other day and I don't know if that's a good thing because I'd heard that Sansevierias flower when they're stressed. This one doesn't seem stressed to me. It's been growing really well. It's got a couple of new leaves growing in as well that I don't think are gonna pick up on camera. It's very cool. I've never had a Sansevieria flower before, so I'm just really interested to see what happens, how that grows, what it looks like. Fingers crossed it's not stressed. It doesn't look stressed to me, but if any of you have more experience with Sansevierias, do let me know. I love the way this one grows. This is, I think, my favourite Sansevieria that I have in my collection. I love the shape that it grows, and yeah, I just think it's really interesting to look at. You do have to keep it out of the way of pets or children because these are really sharp. So I tend to leave it near the sink so that even when I'm moving it to water it, I'm not having to move it very far. But yeah, that is Sansevieria francescii. Next up is a plant that I haven't got in front of me because it's a bit hard to move at the moment, but I'm going to include some pictures and video, and that is my Hoya Bella. I picked up this Hoya Bella a few days ago. It was reduced down to about £11.50 and it was on this big trellis. I wasn't mad on the way it looked like that, but I thought it would be a really fun project to take it down and chop it up and propagate it. So I've got absolutely tons of it. I've got lots propagating in water and loads popping in a prop box. I've got sort of single node cuttings. I've got wet sticks. I've never propagated a Hoya through wet stick. So if you have any experience with that, let me know how it went. But I thought I may as well chuck them into the prop box and see what they do. Lots of really big cuttings that if I wanted to have even more, I could chop these down to be smaller. But yeah, I'm just very excited at the potential that this plant has. I am going to have so much of it by the time it all roots. I'm probably going to pot some of it up and give it away to friends and family. But it was a really fun project chopping it up and I'm really excited to see what happens with it. Next up, this is definitely a plant that's been in my favourites before. This is my Peppera Hope. And it again has just been continuing to grow really nicely for me. Sort of around autumn time last year it was looking really full, but it was full but fairly flat to the top of the pot, whereas now, as you can see, it's getting some really good height to it and I just love it. It's such a cute plant and it's so low maintenance. I've had such a problem with thrips on my Peperomia the last few months, whereas my Peppera Hope hasn't been affected at all. I haven't found a single one, even though where it lives is where a lot of the plants that I found thrips on were. I think they're coming in through our back door. I love it so much. It's such a cute plant. It's got the sweetest round leaves and it's just been growing really well for me. I repotted it relatively recently, probably a couple months ago. It was in a nursery pot inside the hanging pot and I've now planted it directly into the nursery pot. That hasn't phased it at all. It's just continued to grow really beautifully and I'm so excited that these are starting to get some good length now because hopefully they'll all start trailing down soon. So yeah, Peppera Hope. We'll do another bigger one now. This is my Pachyra Aquatica. This was a wedding gift that we got around last June, I'd say, and it's been growing pretty steadily and really well for me since I got it, but it's definitely having a growth spurt at the moment. All of these are new. We've got another tiny one down there. Hopefully you can see behind my finger. There's just, I don't even think you're going to be able to see all of them because it's right through the center of the plant. There's just tons of new little baby leaves starting. And I love how they look when they grow in, when they're sort of hanging down all dramatically, and then they eventually open out to look like this. And it's just such a cool plant, and it's really easy to get your hands on. It's not usually too expensive, and you can get it in a couple of different looks as well. You can get the ones that have multiple sort of skinnier trunks. Sometimes they're braided, sometimes they're not, or you can get the ones where it's just one very thick stump with the leaves coming off the top, which I also think looks really, really cool. Really adore this. I really want to try and show you one of the tiny leaves without breaking it off. There you go, hopefully you can see that. So cute. So that is Pachyra Aquatica. We'll do another excited for its potential plant now, because I know this doesn't look like very much. I'll move that slightly out of the way. This is my Peppera Leodensis, and a while ago I put out a video talking about some struggle plants of mine, and this was one of them. What I was finding was that the lower leaves were yellowing and dropping off a lot quicker than it was putting out new growth, and what I said in that video was I was tempted to chop the top off and try and reroot it in the hopes that it would encourage the bottom to branch out and put out some new growth points, and then I'd be able to root the top cut and have more of it. And I did that. I was very brave. I did that recently, and I think it was the right thing to do. It's still very early days. I don't know that what I want to show you is going to pick up. If I can get it on like as pictures as well, I'll include those. Can you see that little green dot there? And then there's a couple more lower down. And then there's one here too of these growth points that are looking like they're activating, which is really exciting. Like, it has the potential to put out several new growth points. And the top cut I've got in my prop box at the moment, which I'll pop a picture in of as well, that hasn't done anything yet. It's not rooting or anything, but it flowered for me recently as well, which I will also pop a picture in of. And I chopped the flower off because I thought, I'm wanting this plant to put in energy to growing new leaves, not flowers. That definitely seemed to be a good thing as well, because after I chopped the flower off, the top newest leaves grew a lot quicker. But where I've chopped the flower off, that is also putting out some new growth points around the top of the top cut. So fingers crossed that in a few weeks, couple of months, I'm going to have lots of this to pot together. And yeah, I'm really excited that so quickly after taking that top cut, it started to activate those little tiny growth points. I really hope I'm going to be able to pick it up on a picture, because to me it's looking quite encouraging. But that is the Peppera Leodensis. Next up, we'll do this one. This is my Saxifraga stolonifera, or my strawberry begonia. And I am loving watching this one grow at the moment. I recently repotted it because it was drying out way too quickly. And really shortly after I repotted it, it started putting out all of these stolons again, which it had stopped doing. It had a few before I repotted it, like quite a while before, and they just dried up and died off. And it didn't put out any after that. But now that it's got more soil and isn't drying out so fast, it's put out, what is that, 1, 2, 3, at least 5. I think there's a couple also of very new ones tucked in the bottom. Yeah, so at least 5 of these stolons that will eventually put out little baby plants on the ends of them, which you can either leave, that looks really cool I think, or you can chop them off and propagate them. But yeah, that is just, oh, I love this plant. This is definitely just an overall favourite of mine as well. A lot of the plants I'm showing you today are just some of my overall favourites, but they've just been growing really well for me, and I love this one. This isn't a plant I expected to love so much, but it's just so cool, and I haven't got anything else like it. I'm still tempted to get the variegated one because that one's also really pretty, so that might be an addition I make at some point soon. But yeah, the Saxifraga stolonifera, or the strawberry begonia. So next up, another just overall one of my favourite plants in my collection, but is making me really happy right now, is my goldfish plant. And I'm sure you can see why with those two little orange blooms. I have finally gotten it to bloom. I'm really hoping that these show up nice for you in video, but I will probably add in some pictures so you can see them even better, because look at how cute they are. So sweet. Hopefully that's focused. Two little blooms. So I am really excited about that. I don't know if it's got any more buds anywhere else. They're a little bit hard to see, but I'm just so happy with that. I love this plant. I think it's so cool. Weirdly quite hard to get a hold of. I don't know why. It doesn't seem like a plant that would be uncommon. I bought this as tiny cuttings, I think, overall, because I've mixed my variegated one in here as well. 2 non-variegated cuttings and 2 variegated cuttings, and it's grown into a fairly sizable plant. So I don't know why it seems so hard to get a hold of, at least in the UK, but I just love it. I would really love to add some more goldfish plant varieties to my collection. Whenever I see them, if they're a good price, I tend to pick them up. I haven't seen any for a while, but I love the contrast with how dark and glossy those leaves are with that beautiful pop of orange. Considering the leaves are quite simple, I do just think it makes for a gorgeous houseplant, and I'm really happy with it. I'm thinking, touch wood, that we're over the thrip problem with this plant, because it did have them for, God, quite a few months actually. So fingers crossed that's done, because this is, yeah, like I said, one of my favourites. I'd really hate to lose it to thrips. I think moving it into the other room behind me has probably helped, because yeah, I think they're coming in through our back door. So it's a shame that it's in there. I wish it was in here where I could see it more often, but the fact, like, if it's happy, I'm happy. So yeah, that is my goldfish plant. I think it's a Nematanthus. Oh, it might be the gregarious or the I can't remember. If I can find exactly what type of goldfish plant, I will write it below. But yeah, really happy with that. I think it just looks so cool. I'll do my last excited for the potential plant now. This is a Sansia Cylindrica, and oh, and a little piece of the Sansia Francescii as well. But these, again, they don't look like much, but if you've seen some of my previous videos, you might have watched my trash plant rescue videos. I found these in the park, weirdly. I think there was a total of 4 pieces that I found, and these 2 have rooted. The other 2 sadly just kept rotting. It didn't matter how much I cut up above the rot, they would always just eventually start rotting, but these 2 have rooted, which I am really excited about, because once this starts to push out new growth, it's just going to be so cool that it was a piece that I found in the park and it's now a whole house plant. And it was definitely a fairly like sizable Sansia Cylindrica, because I mean, this piece is quite long, but I think this is a piece that I chopped into 2, and the top part didn't quite make it, but altogether it was pretty long. I'm very excited to see what this plant does, and the Francescii leaf has also rooted. You can see that little pointy one there. That's also rooted. I think I knocked that off by accident and thought it would be fun to see how it grows. I know that with a lot of Sansevieria, the sort of typical flatter leafed ones you find in garden centres, what are they called? I don't know what their names are, but hopefully you know what I mean, the sort of very standard Sansevieria. If you get the different varieties like the Moonshine or the one with the yellow variegation, if you leaf propagate them, they will revert to the standard green leafed Sansevieria. So I've never propagated anything like the Francescii before, so I'm really intrigued to see what the plant that grows from that looks like, whether it is just going to be another Francescii or will it be something slightly different. I'm pretty sure Cylindricas just grow into Cylindricas, because quite often they're sold as like 5 braided sticks of it that have been chopped and rooted, and then eventually they start putting off their own new growth. But yeah, I'm rambling, but I'm just very intrigued to see what this does, and I think it's just going to be really cool once it's a proper plant to think that I found it in the park. So yeah, That is Sansia Cylindrica and another little piece of the Francescii. I think we're on the last plant now. That went quite quickly. So yeah, the last plant that I want to show you today is my Hoya rotundifolia, or is it rotundiflora? I can't remember. I think it's Hoya rotundiflora. I recently took it off of its trellis and potted it up in this really cool sort of plain tan cylindrical pot, and I'm just really loving how it's looking at the moment. I had been wanting to take it off its trellis for a while. I think I don't tend to love trellised plants. I really like them to be trailing. I may at some point this year take some more cuttings to try and fill it out, but I'm not in any rush to do that. I really like how it's looking at the moment. We have got a few of these sort of bare tendrils at the ends, but they were like that on the trellis as well. So if it really seems to be obviously slowing the growth of this plant, I may rethink it, but in the meantime, I'm really happy with it. It's such a unique Hoya, and other than being slightly slower growing than some of the other varieties I haven't had any troubles with it. It's very, very drought tolerant. I've had it bloom for me. Oh, I've just spotted a piece of new growth actually. Really, really tiny. I don't know, hopefully you can see right behind this finger is a tiny little new tendril starting. So that's exciting. Really cute. I don't know if we've got any more. Possibly actually. Oh no, quite a few of these ends are activating, and I think we'll start growing new leaves soon. Well, that's exciting. So I'll have, yeah, a little bit more of this soon, hopefully. But that is the last plant that I wanted to show you today. That is my Hoya rotundiflora. I'm pretty sure it's rotundiflora, not rotundifolia. I will double check. The correct will be written down there. Thank you very much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to see more, please like and subscribe. And if you'd like to find me elsewhere, I'm Amy's Greenish Thumb on Instagram and TikTok. And I'll see you next time. Bye.